welcome to Tuesday Tips. Have you ever wondered who would step up to make your healthcare decisions for you if for some reason you couldn't? I was looking at some statistics and was shocked to see that more than 60% of Americans find themselves without an advance directive, which means that effectively they're leaving their healthcare choices in limbo or worst case scenario that puts them in a position that maybe a stranger would have to make those healthcare decisions. So today in Tuesday Tips, we're going to be talking about, opening that door for, to empower you to make sure that you have control of your healthcare decisions, whether or not you're able to verbalize them or not. So I know some people feel this is a real sensitive topic, and it is. But I can tell you as a nurse, it's an essential thing. It's something that we need to talk more about. It's one of those things like death. People don't like to talk about that. They don't like to talk about end of life planning, but oftentimes when we don't take the time to deal with some of these maybe not so comfortable things, then we're left in a situation that we're left holding the bag in a crisis, and then we don't have time to make these choices. So we're going to talk about there's two very important components to advance directives, and we're going to talk about your healthcare wishes. And the other important part of that is not only being able to make your wishes known, but who do you trust? Who do you want to make those healthcare decisions for you if all of a sudden you weren't able? So again, this is going to be the focus of our Tuesday Tips today. Hi, my name is Pam Dunwald. I am one of your nurse advocates from Your Nurse Advocate Consulting, and thanks for joining us. We are live Tuesday Tips in our private Facebook group. This is speaking out on the care of your aging parents. So we're glad to have you here. We're going to be talking about some few things, and hopefully we're going to demystify or display some of the myths that we have surrounding advancce directives. So if you're joining us live, welcome. Don't forget, you have the ability to jot down a question for us here in the chat. We will get that answered for you during our program today. So in life, we all like to be, many people, I would say most people like to be in control. They'd like to say that they are in control of a lot of things in their life, as well as, their healthcare decisions, especially when, it comes to our person, ourselves. And so during times of illness, it can be really hard to maintain that control, especially if you're quite ill or you've had a traumatic accident. And that's why, we'll talk about the myths, but that's one I'll bring up briefly now is a lot of people think that advance directive is just for older people. But, unfortunately, none of us know what tomorrow holds. And it could be a car accident. It could be an accident at your place of employment. You never know when you may be in a situation where you're not able to verbalize, how you want to be cared for and what your wishes are. Or again, who you want to make those decisions for you if you're not able. So they're not just forms, they're really declarations of really our deepest wishes regarding medical care. And we articulate them very clearly for those times when we may not be able to communicate those wishes, ourselves. So I'm going to share a story with you, and it's a true story. Obviously, I'm not going to share a lot of personal information, but being a nurse in the hospital, we come across a lot of these situations, where some people have advanced directives and some people don't. And this one really touched my heart. There was this woman was very ill. She had a large family. They were there all the time. They were at her bedside. Just, a lot of love in that family. And then suddenly finding themselves, and they're in the hallways, they're different, they're kind of pairing up with different family members depending on where they were sitting as far as what they wanted done for their loved one. Do we want to do everything possible? No. Do we want to let nature take its course? No, we don't want to put them through intubation and then having to decide if we're going to take them off life support, this back and forth. And it was very, very difficult. The family was very torn in half, with, again, team A wanting aggressive treatment, and then team B, looking more for comfort care. So it was really heart-wrenching to watch, this confusion and this discord lead to, and so what happened is some states are what they call next of kin, and or not a next of kin state. And so what that means is certain states, they're gonna allow family members to make those decisions, even if they're not any advanced directives in place. That doesn't guarantee the one downside of that doesn't guarantee that they're going to know your wishes, or they're going to say the right thing. So um, it's always best, even if you're in a next of kin state or not, to have your advanced directives. Now, in the state of Wisconsin, where I reside, it's not a next of kin state. So if someone is going to have the right to make your health care decisions for you, it has to be through a legal document, through advanced directives, or healthcare power of attorney, a living will. Those are all very similar documents that can make those wishes known. So it's in this case, what happened is it was in Wisconsin, so it's not a next of kin. So someone had to make decisions. Now, even in our state, the doctor, if there's not documents and the whole family's on the same page, the doctor's going to feel really comfortable, if they feel that that's what the patient wants and everybody's all on the same page. But in this case, the family was at odds. I mean, they could not make up their mind, and they were arguing and fighting, and it was just terrible. So that forced the doctor and the social worker to have to go to court, to go to the court system and petition for a guardianship hearing, and ask the court to appoint a corporate guardian to that woman. And so now you have someone, now legally, this person, this stranger, has the right to make the healthcare decisions. Now, she doesn't know what the patient wants, but he or she is going to make of their best judgment based on the information that the doctor is sharing, but certainly doesn't know the wishes of the patient. So that's what happens when you're in that situation. Maybe someone thinks, oh yeah, my 5 kids, they all love me. They know what I want. And we're going to talk about that a little later, but all it takes is for a couple of them to disagree, and then you've got a real problem. So what exactly are advanced directives? Simply put, they're legal documents that allow you to spell out your decisions regarding your health care. It's a way for doctors and caregivers to know exactly what to do or how far to take things as far as your treatment goes, when you are not able to speak for yourself. And this may just, and to dispel this, it doesn't necessarily mean you're in a situation, that you're going to die. I mean, maybe you're in a coma, and the doctor is hopeful that you're going to be able to come out. You suffered a head injury, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you're on your deathbed. But in the meantime, when you're in a coma, and you're not able to speak for yourself, someone has to help guide the doctors as far as what to do. So Dr. Emily Johnson, she's a palliative care specialist, and she said advanced directives are the most powerful tool to ensure your voice is heard in your healthcare, even when you cannot speak for yourself. They not only guide your medical care, but they also provide clarity and peace of mind to your loved ones during that difficult time. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, because when you make your decisions and you put them in writing, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about the fact that people are going to know. So it makes their job very, very easy, because you've already told them what you wanted. They just have to make sure that it's followed out. We did some videos, some interviews with some adult children, both sons and daughters that have aging parents. And one of the daughters mentioned, she said, my biggest fear of all is making the wrong decisions for my parents. And so that really, hits to this point where, that's a big burden to put on your family. So please do your family, a friend, loved one, whoever you think would carry out your wishes, do them the favor of having this in writing. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the myths. So one of them is, and we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to share my screen and pull up this slide that I have from the National Institute on Aging. And this is a great kind of a visual. I'm a visual person. I like to look at things. So this is a great thing for us to look at as we're going over the myths. So myth number one, I only need a plan if I'm very old or ill. Again, we talked about that. It's impossible to predict the future. We don't know what tomorrow is going to happen. An emergency could occur, and you could be found in where you're unable to verbalize your healthcare decisions. So myth number two, my loved ones will know what I want. Well, according to the National Institute on Aging, they said that in their research, they found that when family members were actually quizzed, they found that only 1 in 3 people, I'm sorry, not necessarily one sitting, nearly 1 in 3 people guessed wrong when asked to predict which end of life decisions their loved one would make. So that leaves you with a 1 in 3 chance that your family doesn't know what you want. So if you had it in writing, again, you would remove that burden from them. There would be no question about it, and they would be able to speak on your behalf. So another myth, I need a lawyer to create an advanced care plan or advanced directives living will. No, most states offer free advanced directive forms online, and you do not have to involve a lawyer. And so what I am going to say at this point in time, we are offering a couple of different options. They're both complimentary. They're both free. We have a couple of webinars if you want to dig in deeper into advanced directives, more so than this quick video here. We're going to have a couple of information or those complimentary webinars. If you feel that you are ready to make your decisions and you would like to work on actually making a document, we are going to have a free 7-day challenge that's going to start March 25th. And start to finish 7 days, we're going to get your advanced directives done so you can have this off your plate and have the peace of mind knowing that this is done, and to have expert nurses from your Nurse Advocate Consulting alongside you to help you prepare and answer questions along the way so that you're able to do this. And I will say that social workers at the clinic or at the hospital, they also will help you do these advanced directives at no charge. All right, the next myth. Once I put my plans in writing, I can't change them. That is so false. Actually, you can change them at any time. So for example, we go over during our webinar, and we don't have a lot of time here in this quick video, but we're going to go over when you should update them, change them. But what you need to know here is that your advanced directives can be changed at any time. You do not have to, it's not a one and done. So if, for example, you divorce from your spouse and your spouse is listed as the number one person and you get a divorce, well, then you just have to redo them, get them to the clinic, get to them to the doctor, get them to the new person who's going to be, your act on your behalf. And it's always the document with the most recent date is the one that active. So when a new one is done and it's dated and it's done properly, the other one is obsolete. So you do not have to, you can change this as often as possible. And actually like I said, there'll be some times when we're actually going to recommend when you do change them. So another myth, an advanced care plan or advanced directive only matters if I put it in writing. Well, again, if you're a next of kin state and you have a family member who knows what you want, you're probably in a little better situation if you don't have one. But again, the most important thing is planning and having that discussion with the people that care about you, because if you don't have the discussion and you're just going by the fact that you think that they know what you want, again, you're shouldering them with the burden of having to make those decisions, and they may be afraid that they're going to be making the wrong decisions. And something as critical as your health and those situations where you are hospitalized, those are pretty important decisions to make. And so that can be a big burden on your loved ones. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here, and we're going to just get back and we're going to wrap up here. So those are the 5 myths. So we talked a little bit about our webinar. We talked about, I'm going to put those in the comment section on our private Facebook forum. If you would like to join us regularly, we go live in our private Facebook forum speaking out on the care of your aging parents. We do it every Tuesday at 7:15 Central Time, 8:15 Eastern. And so we'd love to have you if caring for an aging parent or a spouse is something that you're either getting into or worried about having to start soon, or you're knee deep in the weeds. we've got a lot of resources there that we can help you. And I'll also put that information in there for the free webinars and also the 7-day challenge. So, we understand that contemplating these scenarios, it is not easy, and it can be very sensitive. And I'll tell you that during our 7-day challenge, because we realize it is sensitive, we are offering a free 30-minute consult, which we offer to all people that we work with. If you feel that you've got specific questions about your situation that you feel is too sensitive or private that you don't want to discuss in our group that's working on these advanced directives, we will allow you that opportunity so that you can feel free that you just be talking with us. And as nurses, we follow all the HIPAA guidelines, so we will not share any of your information, and we have an obligation to keep that private. So in closing thoughts, in moments of uncertainty, your advanced directives, they stand really as that beacon, that light, to say, hey, I may not be able to verbalize my understandings, but I can still be heard. And I think that's one of the most important aspects of your advanced directive, is that it speaks for you in your words when you're not able to speak. So take the step today for yourself, or for someone that you care about, that you love, or someone that holds you dear. And we will see you soon. And hopefully we'll see you at one of the webinars, or taking advantage of our free 7-day challenge. So we'll see you soon, and we'll see you back here for another Tuesday Tips. Take care.